Have you been trying to reduce your screen time without success? I will share with you 6 practical techniques to successfully reduce your screen time habit. Hi, this is Jamin. Welcome to your daily guide to emotional, spiritual, and personal growth. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to stay updated. I think to be effective in reducing our scrolling habit, it's important to first understand why we are scrolling endlessly. I know you will be tempted to blame the apps in the website that activate the part of your brain that releases dopamine to keep you on those websites or apps. But I personally believe that the real problem is not external, but the real problem is internal. To be able to understand why you are scrolling endlessly, don't look outside, but look inside. That's where the real issue is. These are few of many reasons explaining why you are scrolling endlessly. You may recognize yourself in one of them or maybe all of them. The first reason is depression. Usually when we are depressed, we tend to look these feel-good sensations that would help us to escape from our realities. Another reason is lack of goals and ambition. When your mind and your energy are not focused on something that you really want to achieve, it's then easy to find yourself idle. Then that will increase your screening time because you have nothing to focus on. You have nothing that really matters to you. The other reason that I can think of is discouragement. When life is hard or when the things that we have planned didn't go according to the plan, we tend to be discouraged. And it's easy in that state of discouragement to then become idle and to start scrolling endlessly. I can personally relate to the reasons that I have mentioned above. There have been times in my life where I've been discouraged, I've been in depression, I've lacked goals and ambition. And it was during that moments that my screen times habit has increased like never before. Like again, like any addiction, screening time is very sneaky. I was in a place where I didn't want to face my disappointment about my life. So I'm just gonna find something that will distract my mind, that will distract me from facing the realities. I personally do not do drugs and I've never done drugs. So screening times was a good alternative. And as I'm speaking, I just remember that screening times cannot be only scrolling through social media, but it can also be Netflix, watching movie, playing video games, any type of screen that will keep your mind focused to forget the disappointment of life or to forget the pain that you are dealing with. Mindless scrolling does come with some consequences. These are some danger of excessive scrolling. Brain fatigue. Research have shown that excessive scrolling can activate the brain, making it difficult to relax and can cause deprivation of sleep. Personally, I can relate because there have been times, as I mentioned before, that because I was depressed, I would spend so many hours just scrolling. The second danger of mindless scrolling is loneliness. Though you are online with so many people, thousand and thousand people, but what excessive scrolling can do is to gradually isolate you and create a detachment from reality. You think in your mind that you have people around you. You think that you are surrounded with a lot of people, but the reality is that you are by yourself. You are alone. And slowly by slowly, your mind starts to detach from the reality. You start to live only in a virtual world. Excessive scrolling reduces meaningful connection. How is it when you're talking to somebody and that person is just on their phone? How do you feel? Do you feel connected to that person? No. And that's what screening times are doing to our relationship. I remember one day I was walking with a friend. We were enjoying the beauty of the night, walking around the park, and we passed by a beautiful tiny bar. It was an open bar, so we could see people sitting outside. I was very amazed when I see a lot of different tables with people, all of them on their phone. They were all together, but everyone has their phone in front of them. I look and it was a very sad thing to look. I remember back home in Cameroon when I was younger, when there were no, when Android phones or when smartphones were not yet very popular. When we used to take the taxi, we would get into the taxi, we will talk to each other, we will tell story to each other. Sometimes you will even delay your location because you want to listen to the end of a story. But today, when you get into a taxi, it's very difficult even to somebody to greet you because all of us, we are on our screen. So we lack connection, and that reduces mindful connection. When you are on your screen, you're not listening attentively, you're not paying attention to all the details, all the expressions of the face of the person that you are talking to. Now, what do we do to get out of this vicious circle of excessive scrolling? Tip 1: deal with your emotions. Deal with your emotions. You have to face your emotion. As hard it can be, you have to face your emotion and to deal with them. Stop suppressing them. Stop distracting yourself from confronting them because they will never disappear. And I bet you will not spend all your life scrolling. That is destroying you easily. So my first tip for you is to look inside you, to take the courage to confront and to deal with your emotions. They are not going to kill you. If you need help, please get help and deal with your emotions. As you're dealing with your emotion, be gentle with yourself. Remember, you are a human being. You are making mistakes, and healing takes time. Be gentle with yourself. Acknowledge first that you're struggling with something. Acknowledge maybe the depression and decide to take a step forward. If you need help, ask for help. If you need somebody, ask for help. If you need a professional, get one. But you have to take the step forward to deal with your emotion and be gentle and understand that healing takes time. Tip 2: set yourself goals and objectives. Setting yourself some goals and objectives will keep your mind focused, will keep your mind, your attention, and your energy focused on those goals. And you will start to discover that gradually you're reducing your screening time because you have things to do. Think of the dreams that you have had, bring them and break them down into goals and objectives. If you think that you do not have a dream, set a goal, a personal goal. Start even a project. Decide to do something and set goals and objectives. Because I have a goal, because I have an objective to record this podcast, to edit, my brain is already programmed to focus my energy and my attention on what I'm doing right now. I can start screening or scrolling when I realize that I do have a goal. I do have a deadline to post or to produce this episode of my podcast. I would then stop scrolling because I have a goal and I have an objective. So set yourself goals and objectives. Tip 3: turn off your notifications. Notifications create the false sense of urgency, even if there is none. So my advice is turn off your notifications. I personally turn off my notifications. I allow only few apps that are important to me to send notifications, like my emails or some channels of communications that are useful to communicate with my family or friend. But the rest, I have turned off my notifications. I will check a notification on my app only if I decide to open the application. So I am less distracted by my screen when there are no notifications. Tip 4. Add some books to your shelf. Research have shown that reading can create new neural network. And when you're reading, your imagination is at work. And instead of draining your energy or cause brain fatigues, reading will actually create more neuronal connection and will activate your imagination. You will actually feel more relaxed than drained. My personal experience. So, like I said before, I used to go to bed with my phone. And when I became conscious that it was a very bad habit, I added some books to my shelf. I am someone who usually don't read non-fictional or novels. I read only books that brings knowledge. But I knew that at the end of the day, if I want to go to bed, my brain is tired and I cannot afford to read a book that will make my brain working. So I have started to buy novels and I've started to buy fictional books, and I have experienced a more relaxed and a restful night. I have experienced that when I'm reading, actually before going to bed. So before going to bed, instead of scrolling on my phone, I turn off my phone and I read. I read for at least 30 to 45 minutes before I go to bed. And I sleep the same amount of hours that I used to sleep when I was scrolling. And now when I wake up in the morning, I feel more relaxed, rested, and I feel energized. Tip 5. Take a break from social media or from your devices. So, if it's needed, this is an extreme strategy to be able to reduce your screen time. If it's necessary, take a break from social media, delete some apps. I have personally not done that yet because I haven't reached that level where I think I need to delete an app or just put away my phone. But if it's necessary for you, take a break from social media or take a break from your devices. You can delete some apps for some times, you can delete your account, or you can put aside your devices. It's absolutely extreme, but if you need it, if you have reached a point where screening or scrolling is becoming a really tough habit to give up, I would advise, like any addiction, take time, put them aside, and focus on yourself. And the last tip, track your progress and reward yourself. Most Android today have what we call digital well-being. You will find it in your settings, or if you don't have that settings, you can actually track your own progress and reward yourself each time that you find yourself reducing time with a specific app or a screen time. Congratulate yourself and reward yourself. Go eat a good pizza, take a nice ice cream, or reward yourself the way you think is good for you. But it's important to track your progress and reward yourself. Personally, I have a little widget on my screen that tracks the time I spend on my screen and the time I spend on specific apps. And I've seen progress. I have left so many hours for minute now. So track your progress and reward yourself. So these are few tips that I can share with you. There are so many other strategy or tips to reduce your screen time, and I hope that those 6 tips that I have shared with you will help you to reduce your screen time. Thank you for listening. This was Jermaine. I hope that this will be helpful to you and that you will put into practice these practical tips that will help you to reduce your screen time. Again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to stay updated, and may you keep healing.